Whether by divine grace, coincidence, destiny, or just algorithms, you are, I am. I am. What does it mean as a statement for you? The perceived, the perceiver, and the act of perception, which form the basis for reality, for you. Welcome to the Zanga. Thank you for joining me, wherever you are in the world. The statement, I am. What does it mean? What is your sense of being? How do you know you're a sentient being? We, as a human family, are ushering in a new world, a new day. Science and technology are taking us to places that we did not expect and is beyond our wildest dreams. And so in this new world, or in this new reality that we collectively share, it seems that while the paradigm shift is going on in the external, in the perceived world, no matter what you perceive your world to be, it seems at the same time an internal change, an internal paradigm shift within all of us is necessary. If there's any effort to be made, it has to be in the story of us, how we perceive our own story as a human family. It's more like unbecoming what we thought we were. And the more we unbecome our false ideas of ourselves, the more we become that which we truly are. The sense of being, your sense of being, is locked in the I am, or is encapsulated in the I am. But this sense of being, it seems we have taken it for granted. This sense of being, for too long, we've kind of let the external or the perceived give us an idea of who we are. I am. You say I am. I say I am. We all say I am when referring to our sense of being. Let's look into this sense of I am a little deeper together. What does I am mean to you? Reality, for most of us, is based on three factors, or a dance between these three factors, or a symphony between these three factors. Is the perceiver, the act of perception, and the perceived, or the objects of perception. Where is the basis of reality within these three? Is it in the perceived, the material, the tangible, the objects of perception? So as long as you can perceive it, it's an object of your perception. The act of perception, which is where the mind comes in, is the process of making sense of the perceived, the external stimuli, phenomena, concepts, perceptions, thoughts, what have you. The perceiver is the one who is involved in the act of perception and involved in perceiving an object of perception. So if we can slow down for a second. For most of us, reality is based on the perceived, right? So the objects of perception. And this includes yourself, your sense of being, your identity, the frameworks for your epistemology and your ontology. Others would say the framework of reality is in the act of perception. So in the process of perceiving, the reality comes forth. Others would say it's the perceiver, the one who perceives or who is involved in the act of perception, that is the basis or the foundation for reality. Whether it's a dance of all three, or you base your reality in just one of them, one of these factors, it doesn't really matter. What really actually matters is who the perceiver is in that dance. The perceiver has to be there in an act of perception. The perceiver also has to be there to perceive an object. And so these other two factors seem to not be able to exist without the perceiver. At the very least, the perceiver is a constant, or has to be constant, has to be present for these processes to occur. So the act of perception and perceiving an object. So if you are the perceiver and your mind is a tool for perceiving, and anything you perceive is an object of perception, let's slow down for a second. If you can observe your own mind as an object of perception, then who is the one behind that mind? Who is the perceiver without that mind? For the longest, we leave it up to the mind, the tool for perception, to tell the perceiver who it is. But how can that be? Can the tool, which does not know it's a tool, and it does not know it's the source of its own power, or where the power of its source comes from, how can it now tell the source of that power what that power is? Remember, since it's a tool and you are the one using the tool, how can the tool turn around and take in its own perceiver, its own user, the owner of it, the mind? It can give an idea. It will always give an idea or concepts based on conditioning, based on perceptions. How does this matter? Why does this matter to what we are talking about? Well, your sense of I am, the statement I am, it's a deep statement, but we take it for granted. What does it mean? I am means I be, I being, and then for most of us, the I am always comes with a concept after that. So if we could try a little game for the mind real quick. Try describing yourself without a concept after the I am. So I am, and then without a concept, without a thought, or a sense of identity after the I am. You already are in the I, and the am means to be. I am, and then no concept after that. Is it possible? The mind will have a hard time doing that because, again, the mind is not conditioned to turn around on its owner or its user, the very source of its own power, and observe it and perceive it. So can you perceive the perceiver? Can you use the mind as a tool for perception to perceive the perceiver as an object of perception? Well, it seems like the I arises before the concept. I, being, and then concept follows. Who is the one that is before concepts? Who are you before concepts? Another riddle for the mind. When you were born, you arrived with a different body than what you're rocking today. You arrived with a mind that's different from the one you're using to perceive today. The mind is a tool or instrument for perception. And so when you were born, kind of with a blank slate, with a blank mind, and then the mind goes forth and starts collecting phenomena, stimuli from your emotions, from your experiences, from your environment, from others that are around you. But it seems a different mind from what you have today. It has collected memories and thoughts and concepts and perceptions. Yet the you that was there at birth with a different body and different mind, still here today. So if you can observe your mind while we're doing this process, if you can observe your mind and observe your thoughts and observe your memories, it means that you are separate from those thoughts. You are separate from those memories because you have to be, the perceiver has to be present to perceive the object of perception, which in this case is your mind. So if you can observe your mind as an object for perception, it cannot be the full story of who you are. Put it like this. When you're in deep sleep, no dreams, just deep sleep, and your I am presence, your sense of being is not there, yet you are there. Same thing. So if you can exist even without your I am sense of being, it means that you can exist without concepts after the I am. Because when we wake up, I was watching something about simulation theory, and it was basically saying every time you get out of bed, your brain or your mind has to decide that it's not an ocean that's floating there. You're about to put your feet on the ground and you're about to walk to the bathroom or wherever you're about to go. And so the I am sense returns as soon as you wake up from sleep. When you're dreaming, the I am sense is there. But when you wake up, it's like, whoa, that was a dream. But the I am sense was there. And yet it was a dream. So if you're there in deep sleep, and if you're there today using a different body from when you arrived, and if you're here with a different mind from when you arrived, is it possible for you to stay as I am without the concepts you have accrued from your environment and from your experiences and from the concepts and the thought generator, the mind, the instrument for perception that is constantly creating these images and these concepts and these perceptions. True or not? If we can be honest with ourselves, we all know that sometimes the mind plays games. I have a little rhyme that I've been giving to all my friends and family. The mind, observe that guy, observe that guy. You know that guy deep inside that be telling you lie. You know he knows you really well. He's been with you all your life. Keep the records of emotions and the traumas that you hide. Yeah, this guy is a vibe, but sometimes, a lot of times, he's telling you lie. Worse still, he has conditioned you to call him by your true name, I. Worse still, he has conditioned you to call him by your true name, I. And so, if you can identify that your personhood or your sense of personhood, since with all the looking we just did, with all the pointing we just did, that if I can observe my thoughts, who is the one behind those thoughts? So if my thoughts and my memories are all in the mind and are all conditionings that I've learned over time, that have been taught to me, or I have picked up from the perceived or the external, or even the internal, but it's still perceived because you can observe your own mind, it means that I arise before all of that. The perceiver is constant in the act of perception and in the perceived, the object of perception. The perceiver has to be constant in both processes. So who is the perceiver? Who are you before concept? Look into this, because within that is a whole new universe for you, a whole new world, a whole new outlook on life. You are so much more than your environment, than your experiences, than your concepts and your perceptions. I think, therefore I am, cannot be the full story, because before a thought arises, the thinker, the perceiver of that thought has to be there. Remember, when you're putting up a house, it's the empty space within those walls that hold the value, not the wall itself. A clay pot, it's the empty space that holds the value, not the clay exterior. You are not just a container, a body and mind walking around. The body and the mind are hinged or pivoted to something deeper than just the material or the matter of body and mind. Don't give it to the intellect, because the journey from the head to the heart can take 1,000,000 years, could take 1,000,000 lifetimes, or it could take just a moment. So rest in that I am sense, that sense of self that needs no concept to be. The miracle of your existence cannot just be a byproduct of a Big Bang. You are the Big Bang. How is it that you came to be? How is it that you know you are sentient? How is it that you are a sentient being? Look within your sense of I am. Look deeper and find out where it arises from and what you are, who you are before the mind. Within that, you will find a fundamental change in the way you treat yourself, the way you view yourself, as well as the way you view others. Because there is nothing but self. There is no thing apart from self. And so this I am that we all say to point to ourselves or an idea of ourselves seems to be, in its purest form, the golden thread that runs through everything. Find it, find that golden thread, and there you will find the shores of the divine. You find the shores of infinite wisdom and knowledge. You find all the answers that the mind constantly is asking questions for. You will find it all. It's all there in your sense of I am. It's a wonderful time to exist. Our world is changing, our collective world is changing, and it will never be the same again. And it seems we are changing, and we will never be the same again. History cannot hold the premise for where we are going, because these times are unprecedented. They've never occurred the way it's unfolding today, ever in our collected history. All the doom and the gloom that kind of have been predicted for our future were all pointings, if we do not unbecome what we thought we were and start to rest in that which we truly are. Whatever you're going through, whatever your perceived experience is, remember the power lies in the perceiver, not the act of perception or in the perceived. The perceiver is constant. Without the perceiver, those two other factors cannot exist. The mind cannot tell you who you truly are. You are so much more. You are worth so much more to the universe, to God, to yourself. You have to take that and check with the divine being or the divine nature within you. Look for yourself. Look within yourself. Look within your sense of I am and find the natural experience, the natural unfolding that was meant for you, that is meant for you. You already are. Remember, those concepts or perceptions are like clouds that are constantly passing, constantly moving, and of their own accord, they will float away. I know it's hard, or it seems hard because of all the conditioning that we have accrued from birth. Who we're supposed to be, where we're from, how the environment that we live in dictates who we are, our concepts and our ideas of what we have of ourselves. You are so much more than your position in society, whether top or bottom, perceivedly. You are so much more than your mind-body consciousness. Because remember, we said the mind and the body have been constantly changing. The idea you have of yourself is constantly changing. But that's just the idea that the mind or the tools for perception put forth. Can the instrument measure the full glory? Can the tool or the instrument measure or grasp the full glory of who the user is? Can it turn around on its own user and observe the observer? Can it perceive the perceiver? Who is the perceiver? Who are you before concepts? I am, and then insert the concept. Who is the I that is? Stay in the knowingness that you are. Before the idea that you have of yourself. Before memory. Before experiences. Before the perceived. Before the act of perception. The perceiver is. And in that space where there is no concepts, where you're not attributing a sense of concept to yourself, you're just conscious of your consciousness. That space is your most natural state. And so we as a human family are collectively stepping into a new world. The old adversarial mindset and the selection for personal or selfish gain of the immediate group, tribalistic mindsets, adversarial mindsets, you versus me against the world, all these concepts have done a good job of getting us here. These are not the concepts we will step into the new world with. Our new collective existence is predicated on how we treat each other, not the science and the technologies that we are living with, but how we perceive ourselves and we perceive each other. When you look into your sense of I am, it's a fountain of knowledge and wisdom and love that starts to unravel some of the sufferings that the mind is constantly putting on your plate. Remember, you exist before the mind. The mind cannot exist without you. It's a tool for perception. It's an instrument for understanding phenomena, external phenomena, or even internal phenomena. But it's still external if you can observe it. If you can observe your own mind as an object of perception, you must exist before it. So if any of these words resonate with you, let that part resonate deeply in your heart. You arise, or you are, before the act of perception and before the objects of perception. Your sense of I am is a fountain of compassion, love, grace, wisdom, and blessings. It's all there. A sense of fulfillment, a sense of contentment. The mind is always telling the perceiver, run here to get a sense of fulfillment. Go do this, go do that. Can you really truly find a sense of fulfillment in the perceived without understanding who the perceiver is first? Can the act of perception really give you fulfillment if you're not aware of being the perceiver at all times? The one who arises before all that. It cannot. Or can it? So look deeper into your sense of I am. Unlearn all the conditionings that you have attached to your identity or your sense of identity. You sit in the cinema of your being and you watch this screen. And after a while, you start to forget that you're watching a screen. You're involved, you're engulfed in the emotional stream that this movie or this screen is constantly bringing. Concepts upon concepts upon concepts that the mind is constantly trying to get you to give attention to. A wise man said, attention is your superpower. Attention is the currency that the mind uses to operate. Without attention, it cannot be. And so you give it attention, and it takes that currency, and it goes and creates a perception or out of the stimuli or the phenomena of the perceived, and it brings it back to the perceiver. The perceiver has to remember that it arises first. The perceiver has to remember who's in charge. The dynamism of the cosmic play will continue. But the one who is playing a role in that play is the one that has to be aware that the person, which literally translates to mask, your personhood, your sense of personhood, meaning the concepts after the I am, are all just concepts. The I am needs no concept. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. And thank you for joining me in this higher vibration, in this higher looking into our sense, onto this sense of self. Blessings, more grace, more peace, more wisdom, more love. Thank you.